Lalit Soni and I welcome you all in this live session by Drishti IAS. So as usual, we'll be taking a look at our Indian Express newspaper. Since it was weekend, so we have covered important news articles from your Saturday, Sunday and from today's newspaper, that is Monday. Okay. So in front of us there is this front page of the today's newspaper. So we will start with the practice question which was given to you, and after that we will look into important articles. We will be covering talking inflation. So there was this article related to inflation. So we will talk about the trends of inflation which are going on in our Indian economy. After that we will talk about Operation Sarva Shakti. Okay, so this operation has been started by Indian Army in the area of Jammu and Kashmir, you can say Rajouri and Punch area, wherein we have heard some incident related to terrorism. So before that there was another operation which has been conducted way before by Indian Army to sanitize this particular area, and now Indian Army will start another operation, that is Sarva Shakti. Okay, we will talk about both the operations, and then Taiwan's presidential elections. So there has been some important developments in Taiwan, and they have chosen their president. Now the thing is, why we are talking about Taiwan here is because Taiwan and China has a history. So whoever is there in Taiwan has some kind of influence on the domestic politics over there. Okay, so China and Taiwan has this historical background. We'll be talking about that, and why China is claiming that Taiwan is their part, and why Taiwan wants their own sovereignty. All these aspects we'll be covering in this article. Okay, then Delhi's AQI score. So obviously we have seen recently that there is incidents of fog etc. in Delhi, and we have seen severe winters this time as well. Okay, so we'll be talking about Delhi's AQI index. Okay, and we will talk about the measures which Delhi government is taking. So that is graded action response. Okay, all these things we will be covering in this article. We will be looking at what is the composition of AQI. Okay, we will not go beyond that, but the thing is, what is important is there, what is AQI, what is its components. Okay, after that we will look at some world affairs. For your own read, I will be giving some articles because it is Indian Army's day today. So we'll be talking about that, and then we'll move toward the practice questions. So here on the front page you can see some important news articles, that is India Maldives high level core group holds first meeting. Okay, so when in the COP28 PM Modi met with President Moizu over there, so they decided to go for a high level core group for talks. So now they will be holding their first meeting. Other than that, there was this indication from Maldives that they are willing to hold a meeting with our prime minister, and they will be coming to India. Okay, so we can see in future that Mr. Moizu might visit India. Okay, the consensus here was that he has not come to India for his first stage visit. That has been the trend in the past, but he has went to Turkey, and recently he has went to China before India. Okay, so we'll talk about all those things. Though we have talked almost all the issues related to Maldives and India, but still we'll talk about this article. Then Delhi AQI severe restriction back on car and constructions. Okay, so whenever there is this change in air quality index in Delhi, if that is poor or severe or very poor, in all those conditions government go for graded response. Okay, in phased manner they go for some kind of curves. We will be talking about that. And then when you are talking about the front page of your Saturday's newspaper, Atal Setu message is distances will be reduced and every corner connected. Okay, so we have talked about this Atal Setu in detail, so we will not go into details of it. Okay, we have done it in the last lecture. Then 7 years after Indian Air Force plane went missing, its debris found off Chennai coast, that is AN32. That is the name of plane. If you want to remember, it's okay. Otherwise, you don't have to worry much about it because such questions might not be asked. Okay, so that is just an article. I wanted to tell you that there was a plane which has gone missing nearly 7 years ago. They have found the debris of that particular plane. Then retail inflation surge 4 to 5 months high. We'll be talking about the inflation trend in detail. Then when we are talking about Sunday's front page, UK envoy to Pakistan visits POK and India protests. Okay, so this a diplomat from UK comes to Pakistan for a visit. They go to mostly Mirpur. This Mirpur is an area from which most of the diaspora has gone to UK from Pakistan. Okay, so they visited this area, and as well as they he went to POK, that is Pakistan occupied Kashmir. Now that the thing is, Pakistan occupied Kashmir is a Indian territory which has been occupied by Pakistan illegally. Okay. Now if a sovereign country's diplomat, or you can say UK's envoy, comes and visit Pakistan, that is a, you can say, violation of India's territory, or you can say sovereignty. Okay, because that territory belongs to us, and he has visited that territory on the with the Pakistani delegates. Okay, so that's the thing. They have said that we have registered our concern with the UK's embassy. Okay. So this is mostly about this Indian Express front page. We will start with the practice question which was given to you in the previous class. That was, Langia Sora painting is a traditional art form associated with which region of India? Okay. So answer is Odisha, because Odisha has been given GI tag for 7, there 7 you can say geographic indication has been provided to Odisha. Okay. One of them is Langia Sora painting. We have talked about this in our previous sessions. Okay, so here you can see Langia Sora painting, also known as Edital. Edital, the art form belongs to Langia Sora community. So this is a tribal community over there. It is a particularly vulnerable tribal group. Okay, largely residing in the Raigad district, traditionally adorning the exterior mud walls of the residence. As I told you, they will be going for paintings on the exterior of their house or the walls of their residence. Okay, so these are the paintings. Most of the figures they are using are in the form of line art, and they have this visuals of people going for hunting activities, and then some celebration is also there. Okay, so most of the element of this art is mostly, you can say, natural. Okay, like birds or you can say animals and celestial bodies, etc. Okay, humans. So that is about your Langia Sora. Okay, so basically it is done on the maroon background with the white ink or white color. Okay, so that answer is B, Odisha. It belongs to Odisha and it has been provided a GI tag for Odisha. Now moving further, article number 1, that is retail inflation surges 4 to 5 months high, IIP slips to 8 months low. So basically they are saying that retail inflation has been high. Okay, so here they are saying most of the surge in the inflation is because of the food articles. Okay, whatever food products we are going for, like vegetables, fruits and vegetable pulses, all these things are actually increasing the prices. Okay, when we are talking about the core inflation, that core inflation is well within the bracket of RBI which has been given, like we are trying to maintain it to 4%, that is objective of the monetary policy, 4% plus minus 2%. Okay, so that is well within the bracket of RBI's object. Okay, but when we are talking about this retail inflation covering overall inflation, food prices are increasing drastically, because of which we are seeing a surge in the 4 months high inflation. Okay, then they are talking about IIP. IIP is basically your indicator of your manufacturing. Okay, and it is saying that it is slipped to 8-month low. Okay, that is because of the base effect, because before that we have gone for a number that is nearly 11.9%. Okay, so in that condition, when last time the base was large, because of the base effect, this time we are experiencing this particular low. Okay, so we'll talk about all these things in details. Let's see. Core inflation declines to a 48-month low is the big positive. Okay, obviously if there is a decline in the prices, okay, that is a good thing, but the thing is, that is, we are talking about the core inflation here. When we are talking about overall inflation, as I told you, because of the food prices, food articles, pulses, you can say your fruits and vegetables, these prices are going sky high. On the industrial output side, the slide in the capital goods production indicator of the investment momentum. Okay, so basically they are saying that one thing is your base effect, other than that they are talking about the investment momentum, the kind of investment that is coming inside the industry or the this particular section of the industry, that is manufacturing. Okay, and consumer durables output, a proxy for the consumption demand, are continuing area of concern. They are saying that there is a chances that there is a reduction in the consumer demand as well. Okay, so with that we will be talking about the trends. Retail inflation increased to 4-month high, that is 5.69%. Okay, so we have this target of 4% plus minus 2%. Okay, So you can say that from 2 to 6% inflation we can keep it, we can say that it is under our bracket of RBI. So here it is 5.69. Still it is high because they are saying that this is the 4-month high. Okay. Then this surge was primarily driven by the higher prices of food items as pulses, spices, fruits and vegetables. The annual rate of food inflation rose to 9.53% in December, with double-digit food inflation in urban areas, that is 10.42%, and significant inflation in the rural area, that is 8%. Okay. So now talking about 8, 9, 10%, if we are talking about this bracket, they are outside the bracket, but the thing is that is into a particular section that is related to your food inflation only. Okay. Then further moving with the core inflation. When we are talking about core inflation, the core inflation means that when there is a basket, let's see, that is your basket. When we are talking about CPI, we have a basket, we have a number of products on the basis of which we are saying that prices in the economy are getting higher or lower. Okay. So when we are talking about this basket, we have, let's say, X number of products here. These X number of products basically are representative of the whole economy. Okay. So let's say there are some 20 products. Okay. These 20 products are including your food articles, your capital articles, all these articles are included in that from your core or your retail, you can say, otherwise your headline inflation articles. Okay. So when there are 20 articles, and if we take out the volatile articles, okay, all those articles which are volatile, let's say your food, your fuel. Okay, when we are talking about the prices of oil and gases, these are also volatile, they keep changing because of the international market. And then when we are talking about food, they are also volatile because considering the monsoon. Okay, and there are other factors as well. So when we take out all these articles outside from this particular basket, whatever is remaining is your core inflation. Okay, so now we are talking about core inflation. We are taking out the volatile articles from the basket. Okay, and we can see that in the long term what kind of inflation trends are there. That is basically your core inflation. Okay, so I hope that is clear that from our representative basket of CPI, if we take food, oil and gases, etc., out of that particular ambit, then we come up with the core inflation. Now core inflation, which exclude food and fuel, is to sub 4% level, that is 3.9% in December, the first time in the post pandemic period. So they are saying that after that COVID we have seen, this is the first time we are saying that core inflation is in the bracket, that is we have seen that is from your, I told you that RBI has a target of 4% plus minus 2%. Now this inflation is 3.9%. So you can say that this is well within the RBI's target. That is why this is first time after pandemic we are seeing this trend. Despite strong economic growth, the decline in the core inflation is noted as a conundrum by economists. They are saying that there is some kind of paradox they are seeing. Okay, reasons are not known, but the thing is, this is what data is saying, that now core inflation is 3.9%. when we are talking about the food inflation, that is 8 to 9%, and the retail inflation, overall inflation, is somewhere near 5.69%, or you can say nearly 6%. Okay, even having it on 6% is a cause of concern, because our cap is 6%. Okay, so now RBI has to take some steps regarding this. Okay, now moving further, industrial production, as we talked about IIP, as I told you, they are also talking about production here. Okay, the index of industrial production, that is IIP, slipped to an 8-month low, that is 2.4% in November, compared to 11.6% a month ago. Okay, so last month we have recorded 11.6%, and when we are talking about in November, we have recorded 2.4%. So here we can see that since here this growth was high, very high, that is 11.6%, that is a good number. So because of that particular base effect relative to this particular number, now the growth is 2.4%. Okay, so that can be one answer, that is your base effect. Second is they are talking about the momentum of the investment inside the industry. Okay, so decline in the industrial production is attributed to a high base effect and slower growth in the manufacturing, mining and capital good output. So one thing is base effect, second thing is we are seeing a slower growth here. Okay, and that slower growth can be because of the investments. Okay, Now, manufacturing, which accounts for a significant portion of the IIP, grew by 1.2% in November, down from 10.2% in October. Okay, so we can see there is a drastic change in the data. Output of the capital goods is an indicator of investment, slumps 13-month low. Okay, so now they are talking about this IIP. When we are talking about, this is an indicator of investment. Second thing is, when we are talking about the low numbers here, that is 2.4%, that is because of the base effect. You don't have to remember all this data. Now, what kind of data you have to remember when we are talking, every time when we have economy related article, I tell you that you don't have to remember the data. Now the thing is, you have to remember the trend. When we are talking about the overall 1 year, 2 year, 5 years, you have to remember the trend. Where data, whatever data you might have to remember is we will be covering before prelims. Okay, so when prelims is approaching, since as I told you, these data are on the monthly basis, they keep changing. You don't have to remember that. When prelims approaches, we will compile all this data. Okay, or otherwise there are various summary from Drishti IAS, they will be telling the data. Okay, other than that, you have to focus more on the economic survey and budget. Data in the economic survey and budget are the authentic data, and they are to stay for a 1 year. Okay, because next data will come in the next budget or economic survey. Okay, so all these data are for your trend analysis, and after that, whatever you have to remember will come in your economic survey, budget, or the monthly compilation by Drishti IAS. Okay, now moving further, outlook and concerns. When we have seen all this data, what are the concerns, what is the outlook? Okay, the outlook for certain items like rice, wheat, pulses remain vulnerable. As I told you, these all products are having price movement very fast. Okay, so that is why they are vulnerable due to estimated fall in annual kharif production. Okay, so as I told you, these things are dependent on the rainfall. Indian agriculture is mostly dependent on the rainfall and the irrigation. Okay, so that is why it depends on the estimated whatever production we get from the crop seasons, and ongoing concern in the rabi sowing season. Okay, on the industrial output side, the concern include a slide in capital good production and consumer durable output. Okay, so when we are talking about consumer durables, they are basically talking about the demand, and then indicating challenge in the investment and consumption demand. Okay, so capital good production is like, you can say, whenever you are adding something inside a business. Okay, some kind of big investment you are doing, one thing. Second thing, capital goods are basically those goods which works for your long term. Let's say if there is a machinery or some kind of big investment you are doing in your business, those things are basically capital goods. Okay, so they are indicator of basically your investment. And when we are talking about these consumer durables, okay, so they are basically elements of low shelf life. So you can say that they are basically talking about your consumption demands in the economy. Okay, so that is about your trends when we are talking about inflation and IIP. Moving further, Operation Sarva Shakti. As I told you that some years back there was this Operation Sarp Vinas. Okay, so so when we are talking about this Sarp Vinas, this operation took place to sanitize this area of Rajouri and Poonch from the terrorist activities. Okay, so back then when this particular operation happened, after that there was some kind of peace prevailing in that particular area. But recently we have seen that trend, that again we are witnessing some terrorist activities in this areas of Rajouri and Poonch. When we are talking about these areas, this is your Pir Panjal range. Okay, and these Rajouri and Poonch areas are somewhere here. Okay, so these Poonch and Rajouri areas are here, and then across the Pir Panjal we have the valley region. Okay, the Kashmir valley we are talking about here. So earlier what used to happen is they used to come from, this is your, you must have known that this is somewhere we have this line of control. Okay, so they used to get inside this line of control, and from this Rajouri and Poonch area they used to cross Pir Panjal and come to the Kashmir valley, and they used to go for some kind of terrorist activities over there. Okay, recently we have seen that they are also going for terrorist activities in Rajouri and Poonch area, because of certain things, or because of the modus operandi, whatever the procedure they used to follow in their operations, they have changed that, and because of which we have seen that there are again these attacks in these areas. Okay, so let's see, Operation Sarv Shakti to flush out terrorist large scale operation will be on the line of Sarp Vinash of 2003. So this particular operation of Sarp Vinas, as I told you, this has happened earlier in 2003. In this particular operation, the locals has also given some kind of information. Sorry. Okay. So locals in this area are that are Guzars and Bakarwals. They used to provide information and support to the Indian army over there, and because of which we can say that this Operation Sarp Vinas was a huge success. And after that, since 2003, we have not seen any kind of attack till you can say 2019-20. Okay, from 2021 we have started seeing witnessing these terrorist activities in this particular area. So we can say that a long 15 to 17 years of peace prevailed in this particular region because of this particular operation, that is Sarp Vinas. Now on the same lines we are going for the Sarva Shakti operation to remove terrorists from this particular area. Okay, so let's see. The army is launching Operation Sarva Shakti involving security forces from both sides of the Pir Panjal in Jammu and Kashmir to flush out terrorists. Okay, when we are talking about both sides of the Pir Panjal, they are talking about the north side and the south side, that is Rajouri and Poonch areas and the Kashmir Valley. Okay, now they will be carried out in the areas of Rajouri and Poonch. Okay, intelligence input at all levels are being collected and acted upon. Additional troops from the reserve formations have been moved into Rajouri and Poonch area. One of the reason of these terrorist activities increasing here is that dilution of the troops in this particular area. After 2017, we have seen that there was aggression on the line of actual control, that is our border, the demarcated border, that is with China. So on that line of actual control, there was some kind of aggression which has been shown by China, and because of which we have deployed the troops over there. Our focus was shifted from border of Pakistan to border of China. Okay, and because of which there is a thinning of troops in this particular area, and which has led to an opportunity for these terrorist outfits to come and do their activities again. Okay, so that is why now we are deploying additional forces over here. Okay, and second thing is intelligence gathering. On the lines of Operation Sarp Vinas in 2003, which was launched against terrorists south of Pir Panjal range, the operation has lasted for roughly 3 months and nearly 100 terrorists were killed at that particular time. Sarva Shakti will be focused on locating the terrorist hideouts in the dense jungles, mountains and the caves dot in the area. So basically this is a hunting operation. From we will target some locations and we will eliminate terrorists from that particular area. Okay, so this is your Operation Sarva Shakti and Operation Sarp Vinas. Both of them are important. You can remember the name. Second thing is this geographical area of this area is important. Okay, geographical features of this area is important. So you can say that we have Pir Panjal here, and they are all part of your Himalayas. So we have this Karakoram range, Ladakh range, Zangsar range. When we are talking about this Jammu and Kashmir area, we have this Pir Panjal range. Okay, which is dividing the valley region and the Rajouri and Poonch area. Okay, so that is your location of this particular area which you can remember. Now moving further, we have Delhi AQI severe restrictions back on car and construction. So the air quality index in Delhi has fallen. It was severe on Sunday and prompting officials to bring back bans on the construction and running of BS3 and BS4 diesel vehicles. Okay, so that number when we are talking about, that is 447, and anything beyond 399 or 400, we can say that is quite severe. Okay, so you don't have to remember these numbers again. Okay, the thing is whenever this particular AQI changes, we have this particular plan that is in force, that is graded response action plan. Okay, so as per the AQI, we will be responding to the some kind of restrictions or the caps which has to be implemented in this particular area. We know that the question of air pollution has been an issue in New Delhi, and recently we have seen that in Mumbai as well this particular question is arising. Now the thing is, air pollution is mostly because of your fossil fuel emissions, and various steps are being taken by the government. But the thing is, when we are talking about Delhi, there is this issue of paddy waste burning. Okay, so when crop residual burning, etc. Other than that, when we have this winters, this particular issue of fog, etc. even exaggerated in this area. Okay, so that Delhi AQI was severe, and because of which government has put some curbs when we are talking about AQI, it is used by government agencies to communicate the public how polluted the air is given in the location. Okay, so basically it is an indicator in or your air pollution. And based on this AQI, public advisories are given. This whenever we are talking about this particular thing, that is graded response action plan. Okay, so they are nothing but an advisory which is to be given by government to the public, that you have to do these particular things, and there are certain don'ts. Okay, when we are talking about construction, they put some kind of restriction on the construction, vehicular emissions, all these things based on the AQI. The concentration of these particles along with other pollutants is what dictate the AQI. Okay, so there are some particles, that is spores, soot, pollen, fog, dust, fine dust, and wildfire smoke. Okay, so all these things are ultimately we are tracking in air quality index, which is used by government to give idea to the public that what kind of air quality they are living in or what kind of pollution is prevalent in that particular area. Okay, so there are certain indicators they are using. They are using ozone. They are actually tracing ozone, PM particles, that is your particulate matter, sulfur dioxide, carbon monoxide, and nitrogen dioxide. Okay, so AQI is having a scale of 0 to 500, and more than 400 would be your severe. Okay, so when we are talking about AQI here, one thing important is that they did not cover CO2 in that particular index. Okay, when we are talking about air quality index, they do not include carbon dioxide. Okay, they include carbon monoxide. That is important, and you have to remember all these elements of AQI. Okay, now moving further to your graded response action plan, it is a set of emergency measures implemented to prevent the deterioration of the air quality in the Delhi NCR region. Okay, so this particular action plan is for Delhi NCR region, and there are certain measures which are implemented in this area on the basis of the AQI levels. Stage 1 of the GRAP is activated when AQI is poor category, that is 200 to 300. Okay, so when it is between 200 to 300, here we have this phase 1, and accordingly there is second phase, third phase, fourth phase based on the AQI, that 300 to 400, 400 to 450, and above 450 there are certain these categories based on which we are going for certain implementation of the measures in that particular area. Okay, so that is your AQI. This particular thing is important, that ozone, particulate matters, sulfur dioxide, carbon monoxide, and nitrogen dioxide we are using in AQI's measurement, and we are not using carbon dioxide. Okay, and other thing is GRAP, which is important for your prelims as well as mains. Now when we are talking about government likely to unveil new Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Gramin version with 85% higher finance assistance. So we had this Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana for Gramin as well as urban areas. Okay, now government is saying that they will be going for the you can say newer version wherein finance will be given, extra finance will be given. Okay, and that is because obviously since this particular scheme which has started earlier in 2016 and now we are in 2024, there is a rise of inflation. The cost of particular things which are used in the construction, that has increased, and because of which they are increasing the financial assistance which has been given. Okay, so let's have a look at it. The new government, the government may unveil a new version of Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Gramin for the next 5 years. The financial assistance 85% higher. Okay, to build pakka houses in the rural areas. Currently, assistance of 1.2 lakh is given, okay, in plains, and when we are talking about hilly areas and union territories and northeastern regions, that is 1.3 lakhs. Okay, so in plains we are getting 1.2 lakhs and in hills 1.3 lakhs. So it is given here, and they will be increasing it to 2.39 lakhs. Okay, so ultimately this is increased to 2.39 lakh. So that is the financial assistance which will be given now onwards. Pradhan Mantri Janjati Adivasi Nyay Mahabhiyan, PM Janman. We have talked about this scheme again and again. Even in our recap session of the schemes, we have discussed this PM Janman. So that is important. And in that particular yojana, that is basically for your PVTGs, okay, particularly vulnerable tribal groups. and they are also being given 2.39 lakhs rupees. Okay, then this is because of the acceleration in the cost or the inflation in the cost. An announcement could be expected in the interim budget 2024-25 because of the elections. Government might be going for the interim budget, and in that particular budget we might be expecting this particular announcement. So to achieve the target of housing for all in the rural area, the center rolled out PMAY, that is Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Gramin, April 1, 2016. As I told you, this scheme started in 2016 to assist construction of 29.5 million pakka houses, and they have done they have made some 25.4 million pakka houses by January 2024. Okay, so that is you can say a good success when we are talking about the numbers here. Okay, so that is about Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, and that the aim of this particular Yojana is to provide pakka houses for all. Okay, and now we are going for the newer version of this particular scheme, wherein we will be providing extra finances, or you can say there is a hike in the financial assistance which has to be provided under this scheme. That is, earlier used to get 1.2 lakh, 1.3 lakh rupees, and now they will be giving 2.39 lakh rupees per unit. Okay, now moving further. Supreme Court declines to stay new law on picking CEC and ECs. So government has come up with this new law which we have talked about, that is related to appointments of Chief Election Commissioner and your election commissioners. Okay, so earlier what used to happen is government through an executive action wherein government would go to president, or you can say Council of Ministers would suggest some names to the president, and president will appoint these CEC and ECs. Okay, so earlier president used to appoint them. Till now also, after this particular judgment by Supreme Court has given a judgment in which Supreme Court said that since 1991 law, there is this 1991 Act, okay, which deals with the terms and conditions of service of CEC and ECs. When we are talking about that particular Act, that does not talk about appointments. Okay, and then when the case went to Supreme Court said that since this Act is not talking about the appointment, and till the time Parliament comes up with such act which is talking about the appointment of CEC and ECs, there is a select committee which will be working. That select committee will recommend the name, and then you can appoint a CEC and other EC members. Okay, so here that select committee was basically Prime Minister, Leader of Opposition in Lok Sabha, and CGI. Okay, Chief Justice of India. Leader of opposition, when we are talking about talking here, since we don't have a opposition, technically for being an opposition you require minimum number of seats, okay, which no party has it. So when we are talking about leader of opposition, they will be taking the leader of the largest party from the opposition, okay, that is Congress. So one person from Congress would be there, and then Prime Minister and CGI would be there in that select committee, and then the select committee will decide the names of CEC and ECs, and president will appoint them. Okay, so that was the judgment of Supreme Court in this particular regard when we are talking about the appointments. Okay, now after this judgment, Parliament has come up with a new act that is related to appointments, etc., and they have made some amendments, and then in that particular amendment or the act, Parliament has said that this select committee which Supreme Court said earlier will be there, but the composition has changed to from PM, then there will be leader of opposition, and there will be a cabinet minister, and that cabinet minister will be appointed by the Prime Minister. Now few people has gone to Supreme Court, they have said that this is against the Supreme Court's judgment. Supreme Court has said that there should be a CGI, okay, and now that is against the judgment, and that is why they have gone to Supreme Court to in the want of a interim stay on the act. Okay, now Supreme Court here said that we will not put an stay on this particular act, because what we have said here is that till the time Parliament decides on the law or Parliament brings a law in that regard, this select committee would work till the time. Once Parliament come up with the act, that act would be the one governing the appointment. Okay, so now Parliament has come up with the act, so they are not going to stay. They will hear the matter further, but as of now they did not put any kind of stay. Okay, so that is what this article is about. As I told you earlier, appointments were done by the president on the advice of the government, and then Supreme Court has given this judgment wherein they have made a select committee, Prime Minister, leader of opposition and CGI himself. But after that judgment, Parliament has gone for the enactment of a law, and wherein the select committee was Prime Minister, leader of opposition and cabinet minister. They have replaced CGI with the cabinet minister, which is to be nominated by the Prime Minister. And few people has gone to the court saying that they have violated the Supreme Court judgment, or that is against the Supreme Court's judgment, and that is why that should be stayed. But Supreme Court said that we cannot stay it, because obviously they are following the procedure, and this particular select committee is to be worked, or is to go for the appointment till the time they are having some kind of parliamentary procedure or the parliamentary act in this regard. Okay, so that is about this particular article. Now moving further, art and culture, there is this temple which is in news, that is Kalaram temple. Okay, so the name here is because of the color of the idols which are present in this particular temple, because that is in the Shyamvan. Okay, Shyamvan, or you can say in the black stone it is there. So that is why the name of the temple is Kalaram temple. Okay, this is in Panchvati. Okay, Nasik. So Prime Minister has made a visit Kalaram Mandir on the banks of Godavari river in the Panchvati area of the city. Okay, now here you have to remember that it is on the Godavari river. Okay, so since the thing is Prime Minister has visited this particular temple. Second thing is the leader of Shiv Sena, that is there are two factions of Shiv Sena. The Shiv Sena under Uddhav Balasaheb Thackeray, the leader of the Shiv Sena, that is Uddhav Balasaheb Thackeray, that he has also said that he will be spending 22nd of January, that is the inauguration of Ram Mandir, in this particular temple. Okay, so here you can see a day earlier Shiv Sena UBT chief Uddhav Thackeray has said that he would spend 22nd January, the day of consecration ceremony of Ram temple in Ayodhya. Okay, so that is two reasons because of which this particular temple was in news, that is Kalaram temple on the banks of Godavari river in the Panchvati area. Now it has a significance in Ramayana. Okay, because when we are talking about Ramayana, Ram went for a 14 years of exile or Vanvas, and at that particular point of time he has stayed in that particular area. When we are talking about Panchvati, it means that Panch, that is 5, and Vat are the trees of banyan. Okay, so that is why it has been an area of 5 trees of banyan, and wherein they have created their hut to stay in that area, and this is the place from where Ravan actually abducted Sita from this particular area. So that is having some kind of significance in Ramayana. And when we are talking about this temple entry movement by B.R. Ambedkar in 1930s, okay, so that temple entry movement also started from here. So that from your modern history point of view also, this particular temple is quite important. In 1930, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar and the Marathi teacher and social activities Pandurang Sadasiv Sane. So basically when we are talking about these two names, you have to remember the second name as well, that is Pandurang Sadasiv Sane, known as Sane Guruji. Okay, so these two people have started this agitations to demand access for the Dalits to the temples. Okay, so that is important, from your modern history point of view as well. Okay, so there are 2 or 3 significance. PM has visited this particular area. This is on the banks of Godavari river, and then it has a significance in Ramayana, and then our Baba Sahib Ambedkar has started this temple entry movement, or you can say demand of access to the Dalits in the Hindu temples, that started from this particular area. Okay, so that is why this temple has been in news. So from your art and culture point of view, GS1 point of view, that can be important. They can ask you in the prelims as well. Okay, and unusual statute of Rama, as I told you, they are that is the statue here is in the black color, is of black color. That is why this is Kala Ram temple. Okay, so moving further, in your international affairs, here you can see US UK launched strikes across Yemen in response to Houthis Red Sea attacks. Okay, that has been in news for a while. I don't have to give context about it, because Houthis were creating these issues in Red Sea, and USA has talked about it. US has warned that if they don't stop it, they will go for the military action, and they have went for it. UK and US has launched some strike in that particular area. there are certain allies, that is Italy, France, Spain, they have abstained from the strike. Okay, they have said that they are not part of it. So that one incident that has happened in the Red Sea area. Then Israel tells ICJ it must defend itself. So as I told you, South Africa has went to ICJ, International Court of Justice, saying that Israel is doing what Israel is doing in that Gaza Strip area, that amount to genocide. Okay, and Israel is saying that we are supposed to defend ourselves, because Hamas were creating attacks on Israel again and again, and in that regard Israel wanted to safeguard their interest, and they have retaliated. Okay, so that is one thing. Myanmar military and guerrilla groups reached truce deal in the northeast, that is China has said that, and China has broken this deal. Okay, and wherein the northeast border, which is basically having boundaries in with China, and they have broken this deal between the Myanmar military and the guerrilla group of the ethnic communities which are fighting for the democracy in that region. Okay, they have come up with certain kind of agreement, but they are saying that that agreement or the deal is only for the northeast border or the northeast area of Myanmar, which having a border with the China. Okay, so that is one you can say development in the Myanmar. When we are talking about Myanmar, there are some civil war like situations going on, because there are certain communities which are fighting for democracies over there, and then there is a power or the regime which Myanmar has, that is a military junta regime. Okay, so power is under military. Okay, now moving further, in Taiwan's presidential elections, the questions of relation with China. Okay, so basically as I told you, there was elections, and this was an old article from 13th of January, and elections has happened there, and they have chosen their new president, and that president is telling that he will safeguard the interest of Taiwan, he will not succumb to the assertiveness of China, but he is also emphasizing on the importance or the significance of the talk with China. Okay, so that is why we have taken this. Let's see. China has not ruled out a military invasion to take control of the country. So when we are talking about Taiwan, okay, so here you can see this is mainland China, and we have this small island here, that is Taiwan. Okay, so there are few people who are saying that Taiwan, they consider that Taiwan is a sovereign state, they have their own identity, and they do not identify themselves as Chinese. Okay, so when we are talking about such people, the number of such people is quite high. Okay, nearly some 60% people of this particular area are saying that they are not having any kind of connection with China, they are having their own sovereign status. There are some people who are saying that they can identify themselves as both Chinese as well as from the Taiwan. Okay, and there are certain people, they are saying that they are from China only. Okay, so that is the issue, that they are talking about the sovereignty of Taiwan, that has been the issue between China and Taiwan. China is saying that Taiwan is integral part of China. Okay, China has this one China policy. Other than that, China also has this assertiveness, or you can say aggression, when we are talking about their policies or in the South China Sea. Okay, so that is about this thing. So let's see. China has not ruled out a military invasion to take control of the country. The United States, the de facto security guarantee for Taiwan, has been intensifying military drills in the Indo-Pacific with the partners. Okay, so when we are talking about this region, so Taiwan historically there was one incident, and then Taiwan saying that they are a sovereign nation. At that particular point of time, when we are talking about USA has always supported claims of Taiwan. Okay, but after 1970s, when we are talking about, USA has this inclination to build relations with China as well. So when USA thought that they are trying to build relations with China, so they accepted this term that Taiwan is part of China mainland. Okay, so under one China policy, USA accepted that Taiwan is part of that, but de facto USA is still trying to serve Taiwan's interest, or they are helping the Taiwan in, you can say internally. Okay, so de facto position is that USA is helping Taiwan, but on de jure, if we say, they are saying that that is part of you can say China. So here you can say there is some kind of hypocrisy in the diplomacy of USA, but again when we are talking about international relations, that is the all about interest. Okay, so history of China in Taiwan. After communist led by the Mao Zedong seized power in 1949. Okay, So 1949, Mao seized power in China. Okay. Chinese nationalists led by the Chiang Kai-shek fled to island of that is Taiwan. So in 1949, few people or the current regime over there, they have fled to Taiwan. They are saying that they are against this regime by Mao Zedong. So Mao took power in China in 1949 and few people fled to Taiwan. Now from there they are saying that they are the real Chinese, okay, or they are the, you can say, authorities, or when we are talking about the regime over there, they have said that they has been replaced by that particular area. So they were representative of China at that particular point of time. Okay, so they fled to Taiwan, 180 kilometers from the mainland. Okay, after Cold War, in the area of era of Cold War, as I told you, China was having this problem with USA. At that particular point of time, USA was supporting Taiwan, and then after that in 1970s, we can say that they started accepting that Taiwan is part of China mainland under one China policy, because they were trying to make some kind of relations with China. Okay, so here you can say strategic ambiguity is there in the foreign policy of USA. When we are talking about Taiwan and USA, there is this strategic ambiguity wherein de facto there is a different stance, and de jure there is a different stance. Okay, so that is about China and Taiwan issue. So let's see. Here you can say the new president, he has said that president-elect President-elect Lai, his name is basically Lai Chang. He is saying that he will safeguard Taiwan from China's intimidations or aggressive policies, but stresses on the talks. He is saying that it is significantly important for us that we go for talks with China as well. Historically speaking, before that, he was not a supportive of talks with China, but recently we have seen that there is a change in his stance. Okay, so because of these elections over there, and this particular person who has come into power, his name is Lai Ching-te. Okay, so he has become the new president of Taiwan, and now China is saying that they will not give up the goals, or you can say give up the idea which they have, that is one China, or Taiwan is part of China, and they are not even you can say reluctant to use military actions. Okay, so they are still you can say considering military actions if the need be. Okay, so here you can say this is Taiwan across your East China Sea from China's mainland. Okay, so here you can see a measure of public frustration at the domestic issues, high cost of housing and stagnating wages. So all these things were present in Taiwan, and because of which we were seeing that the chances of this particular person was less. Still, they have come up with the 40% of the majority in the first past the post system. In that particular system, they have got some 40% of votes. Earlier they used to have this majority, but because of these issues related to economy or the public frustration because of the domestic issues, they have got less number this time. But still they are saying that they are in power now, and they are considering talking with China, but they are not intimidated by the China. Conflict between China and Taiwan, when we are talking about the background, China and Taiwan separated amid civil war in 1949. China considered Taiwan part of its territory to be taken control of by force if necessary. Okay, but Taiwan leader says that Taiwan is a sovereign state. After decades of hostile intentions and the angry rhetoric, relations between China and Taiwan started improving after 1980s. Okay, because that is the time after USA has accepted that Taiwan is part of China mainland. Okay, so earlier they used to get this support from USA, but now they are saying that there is this ambiguity in the USA's stand, and they have also started going for normalization of the relations. Okay, so when we are talking about China and Taiwan, though they are having some these issues of political, or you can say international issues there, but their trade is kind of robust. Okay, China put forward a formula known as one country two system. Okay, so that is to provide some kind of autonomy. They are saying that you consider Taiwan as part of China. Okay, so there will be a one country but two system. You will have your own government over there. Okay, but Taiwan people from Taiwan has rejected this particular thing. Taiwan would be given significant autonomy if accepted Chinese reunification. In Taiwan, the offer was rejected, but the government did relax rules rules and visit and investment in China. As I told you, there are some issues still are there, but the trade and the investment process and the you can say people to people connect is more over there. China's implementation of national security law in Hong Kong in 2020 was seen by many as another signal that Beijing is becoming significantly, or you can say more assertive in the region. Okay, so in 2020 they have implemented national security law in Hong Kong, okay, which was earlier a British colony, okay, and because of which there are this you can say apprehensions in Taiwan that they are trying to be more assertive in the region. Okay, so when we are talking about our stand, when we are talking about India's stand with respect to Taiwan, so we can say that since 1949 India has accepted one China policy, okay, and they have considered that Taiwan and Tibet are part of China. We have done it so that we thought that China would also reciprocate in that manner. When we are saying that Tibet and Taiwan is part of China, China will also have this stand that all those areas which are illegally occupied by Pakistan are part of India, but China did not do so. However, India uses the policy to make diplomatic point, that is, if India believes in one China policy, China should also believe in one India policy. Though India has stopped mentioning its adherence to one China policy in joint statements and the official documents since 2010, since we have seen that China is not reciprocating, so we stopped using this particular term in our official declaration, official statements. Okay, after 2010 we have not used this one China policy word in our declaration or our documents. Its engagement with Taiwan is still restricted due to the framework of ties with China. Still, we don't have a very robust relations with Taiwan. Even we don't even have a formal diplomatic relations. Okay, India and Taiwan do not have formal diplomatic relations, but since 1995 both sides have maintained representative offices in each other's capital that function as a de facto embassies. So formally speaking, we don't have embassies over there, we don't have diplomatic channels. Okay, but when we are talking about de facto, we have embassies, or we can say we have our official representative of each other's country. Okay, so that is about India's stand on issue. We did not consider Taiwan as part, we did consider Taiwan as part of China, but after 2010 there was this change in the policy. We are not using this word one China policy, and we are now having some kind of diplomatic channels. Okay, though not formal, but informally we are having offices over there. Okay, now Maldives High Commission or High Level Core Group holds first meeting. Okay, discusses mutually workable solution for continuing operation of aviation platforms in humanitarian aid. So this thing was in news because we have talked about all the issues which are raised, or the tensions which has raised between India and Maldives. Okay, considering all those things, or that issue which has started because of the Prime Minister visit in Lakshadweep, and then there was this social media incident that happened. So after his visit to China, he has come to Maldives, and the president said that though we are a small nation, we should not be bullied. Okay, so that was his statement. Mohammed Moizu took an indirect jibe at India for bullying. His government set 15th of March as a deadline for India to withdraw military personnel from the country. So there are recently, when we are talking about current position, there are 88 military personnel which are present in Maldives. Okay, that is for the operation of their operation of aviation platforms there. Okay, there are some helicopters and choppers which India has provided them, and these 88 personnel were there for the operation of those choppers, and now they are saying that you have to withdraw from Maldives land by March 15. So we are discussing the mode of operation which would be there for the humanitarian aid related to operation of those choppers over there. So that is the condition right now. All these things, that as I told you, there are 88 military personnel. India and Maldives set up a core group after meeting of Mr. Modi and Moizu at COP28 in Dubai. So that we have talked. Soon after taking oath, President of Maldives, he has said that Indians would be sent back, or the military personnel which are deployed in the Maldives would be sent back. They have severed the hydrological survey which India and Maldives used to have. So all these incidents are being happening there, which is indicating that there is a strain in India and Maldives relations. Other than that, when we are talking about with respect to China, after visiting China, there are some joint statements which says that China is now entering into this India Maldives issue, and China is saying that sovereignty of a nation should be respected. Okay, so here you can say that we may be small, but that does not give you a license to bully us. That is words of Mohammad Moizu when we are talking about the incident that happened in on social media. Okay, so after that, they have when we are talking about the visit of China, they have announced various projects. There are nearly 100 MOUs which have been signed between Maldives and China. China has said that if Maldives is helping us in our initiatives, infrastructure initiatives, or that is the BRI, we will support them financially. Okay, so that is the kind of transactional relations China is offering. Okay, transactional relation that you will give something to us, we will give it to you. Okay, so that is the kind of transactional relations in China is offering to Maldives, and Maldives is basically falling for it. Okay, then China firmly supports the Maldives in upholding its national sovereignty, independence, and national dignity, respects and support Maldives exploration of a developmental path that suits the national conditions. Okay, so basically here China is saying that they are supporting Maldives sovereignty and national integrity, etc. And when we are talking, this statement is basically with regard to the issue that happened in Indian Ocean with respect to Maldives and Lakshadweep, or you can say the comparison between Maldives and Lakshadweep on social media, or the issue related to derogatory comment on Prime Minister's post by Maldives 3 ministers. So all these issues are linked. We have talked about all these things. Okay, so recent development here is that now they have set a deadline for Indian personnel to leave Maldives land, that is 15th of March. Okay, this will further enhance the tension between India and Maldives relations. Okay, here you can say Moizu's visit to China was made by diplomatic row with India over derogatory mark by his ministers against Prime Minister Modi. Report by EU election observation missions of Maldives. This particular report from European Union, this says that there is some kind of meddling in the elections of Maldives. Okay, they have gone for this anti-India sentiments. Okay, and because of which they have actually won the elections. Okay, so considering that, you can say that EU reports cast a shadow on Moizu's presidential election in the area. Okay, so there is the apprehension that they have won the elections because they have used this anti-India sentiments. Okay, so that is what the report says. Now moving further, for your own read, there are these 3 pages. Okay, that is related to your Army Day. Okay, and then there was this article related to modernization and Indianization, that is focus of Indian Army. So you can give it a read, you can take out few pointers out of it. Okay, that is related to, you can say, enhancing our militaries or the modernization of the military power. Okay, that is one thing. Then there is this SIG Swearer. Okay, so this is an assault rifle. You can remember the name because they might even ask you sometimes in the PCS, etc. But otherwise, then there is this Sky Bell. Okay, so spelling is given in a different way, that is SCHIEBEL. So simply you can remember it as Sky Bell. This is a multi-role, multi-domain chopper. Okay, so that is one thing. Okay, it is unmanned air system that has been revealed. Then BrahMos is important. You know that this is project between India and Russia. Russia is kind of collaborating with us in the BrahMos missile system, etc. So that is important. Other than that, there is this Ugram. Ugram is developed by DRDO. Okay, so here that is important because this is indigenously developed rifle. So you can remember this name, that is Ugram. Okay, other than that, BrahMos I have talked about. So all these things, these names you can remember, you can make some 2-3 lines notes out of it. And then when we are talking about this particular page, that is PM Janman, which we have discussed, you can take this, or you can take this particular screenshot, because they are talking about all the elements of Janman here. Okay, so that would be easy for you to remember during the exam. Okay, if they when we are talking about exams, then they ask these elements. If you have some kind of infographics that would be easy for you to remember. Okay, now moving further to your practice question. Which Indian states recently received a geographical indication for Koraput Kala Jeera? Okay, we have discussed this Koraput Kala Jeera. Okay, and this particular variety of rice has resemblance with jeera, so that is why that name is Koraput Kala Jeera. Options are Odisha, Karnataka, Telangana and Assam. Okay, so you have to choose the correct answer and reply in the comment box. Now moving further for your mains practice. Consider the issue of air pollution in metropolitan cities. How do you perceive the significance of air quality index and graded response action plans in mitigating air quality? Okay, so basically they are talking about your AQI and GRAP. So here you have to mention that what these are. You have to define them. AQI, what is AQI? What is this graded response action plan? Okay, where they are implemented. Then when we are talking about the issue of air pollution, you have to give some kind of good introduction. You can use some kind of data. Okay, and they are talking about metropolitan cities. So recently Delhi has always been the hotspot when we are talking about air pollution, and then recently in Mumbai also that has happened. Okay, so you can give some certain example of metropolitan and start your answer, and then you can talk about AQI and GRAP and how it is working and what is the significance of AQI in GRAP and how this graded response is helping us mitigate the air quality in the metropolitan area that is Delhi. Okay, so that would be your practice question for your mains. Okay, with that I would like to take your leave. I'll see you in the next session. Till then, have a good day. Thank you.